So I don't talk about it like ever on this podcast because it's not really what I want this podcast to be about. But I'm actually a pretty big fan of pro wrestling. You know, anybody who's been on my Twitter account definitely can tell that because I talk about it pretty often, but it's just not the thing that I typically want to be podcasting about. You know, it's a really fascinating storytelling medium, but you know, I kind of prefer to talk about things that are a little bit more real. Sometimes, though, pro wrestling does become a little bit more real, and that's something that happened with a story that popped up that I noticed recently, and this one really got to me personally. Not really because it affected me personally or anything like that, but really just more because this is the sort of thing that's really been kind of standing out in my mind lately when I see these things online. And so recently, Jake Paul won the WWE United States Heavyweight Championship from Rey Mysterio in a match at, I think the match was actually in Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. And so for a brief time, the storyline that the WWE was running with was that they were going to have Rey Mysterio come back and, you know, lobby for a rematch with Jake Paul and basically say that, you know, Jake Paul had stolen the United States Championship from him, you know, by using brass knuckles. But basically that was the narrative, that Jake Paul hadn't really won the championship, but that he had stolen it from him. And I feel like if you're a WWE fan that was victimized in the CryptoZoo scam that Logan Paul ran on his followers, I feel like that's got to be really insulting. Like, that's got to be just a little bit too much, too real. And it's not like that was just a little bit of money that was involved in that scam. I mean, that was millions of dollars. It is not at all inconceivable that there's perhaps a large group of WWE fans that might have pumped money into this this crypto NFT scam that Jake Paul was running, this alleged crypto NFT game that he promised them was going to be really fun and really rewarding to play, and it never got finished, and has in fact never gotten finished. And despite the fact that after the expose by CoffeeZilla, Logan Paul did turn around and he promised that he was going to be refunding money to the people that had invested into the project, there's no evidence so far that so much as a dime has been paid out to all of these people that Logan Paul basically defrauded. So if you happen to be one of those fans, I can't help but feel like it must feel like this whole thing is just like it's being rubbed in your face now. Like they've slapped you in the face and now they're rubbing your face in this thing. Just the detail that there have been so few real world consequences for what basically amounts to, that's an act of fraud. He promised his fans something in exchange for their monetary investment that doesn't seem that definitely it has not come to fruition. It does not seem like it's ever going to come to fruition. So in an industry, I mean, in a storytelling medium where the story is so often, you know, rich heel, or at least, you know, heel villain character, at least pretending to be rich, making fun of all of the fans for being poor, where that's been a narrative so often, that's the one that they're finally going to allow to become real by parading around this guy with this championship and basically rewarding him for this kind of behavior. That's really disappointing. And it's, you know, it's such a cringe thing to sit here and say that you're disappointed in a storyline decision that a pro wrestling company made. Yeah, I understand that. You know, I get it. We are solidly into cringe territory. But I feel like of all of the different, of all of the different stories that have sometimes come true, you know, in professional wrestling over the years. I mean, things like, pro wrestler versus authority figure. You know, how many times over and over again has that one actually become true? Yeah, sometimes these things do become true. But I mean, you know, the rich heel, you know, taking advantage, you know, of the poorer audience and then making fun of them for it. I feel like that's one they never should have allowed to become